If you want to learn how to get this flawless bridal makeup application, then keep watching because I'm going to give you a super in-depth tutorial on how to achieve this look. I've already prepped my skin for makeup and I have videos about this on my page if you want to learn about that. I am first starting off with the Westmore Beauty Supreme Cream and putting this all over my chest. I already have a spray tan, but this provides a little bit extra coverage and a very nice glow, and I'll be wearing this top for a bridal hair class, so I want everything to be flawless and perfect. To set that in place and avoid any transfer, I'm using the Revolution Super Hold Super Fix Setting Spray and spraying this all over my chest. For this eye makeup look, I'm doing a smoked out wing, so I'm using tape to make sure that it's extra crisp and sharp. The best way to apply tape is to follow your natural lower lash line. So I placed the tape where my lower lash line would naturally follow, and this kind of goes out towards the tail end of your brows. This creates a nice wing shape where your wing will be going outwards and not upwards. Now I'm going in with the Too Faced Born This Way concealer in the shade Snow and applying this all over my eyelids to prep them for eyeshadow. Now I'm setting that concealer in place with a powder puff and the Charlotte Tilbury pressed powder. This will make sure that your eyeshadow goes on super smooth and there's no creasing on the eyelids. Now taking a fluffy eyeshadow crease brush and the NYX matte bronzer, I'm going to start by working this color into the outer corner and the crease. If you're a beginner at eyeshadow or you find that yours just doesn't look good, I always recommend starting with a bronzer. It's very easy and beginner friendly. Now using the Too Faced Mattes palette, I'm going in with the shade Less is More, which is a cool brown, and also placing this into the crease. Then with a flat eyeshadow brush, I'm going in with that cream neutral color and placing this underneath the brows to highlight that area and brighten that up a bit. Next, with a more dense eyeshadow brush, I'm going in with this deep brown shade and placing this only on the outer corner. Now I'm going to use the Makeup by Mario Master Mattes palette and go in with that black eyeshadow shade and an angled eyeshadow brush and start mapping my wing. This is where the tape becomes very, very handy and is your best friend. You want to actually use the tape to go on. Don't be afraid to get the makeup on the tape. That's the whole purpose of it. The tape will provide you that nice line, and then once you have your line drawn, all you have to do is connect that to the eyelid by forming a little triangle and then connecting that to your lid just using stamping motions. The great part about using eyeshadow as liner is that it doesn't have to be perfect. If you want it a little bit more messy or a little bit more smudge, you just go in with a brush and just smudge that line out so it's a little bit more diffused. This part is really where your artistry comes into play. You can make it as dark or as smoky or as diffused as you want it, just based on your personal preferences. Once you're happy with the depth, this is where the most satisfying part comes into play. Taking off the tape will always be the best part. Now I'm going in with the Bobbi Brown eyeshadow shimmer in the shade Moonstone, and using my ring finger, I'm just going to apply this all over the lid. Now it's time to apply false eyelashes. These lashes I got from Amazon and they are linked in my storefront. When applying lashes, I always use a brush-on lash glue just because I find it's less messy and you can control the glue a little bit more. I let the lashes dry for about 45 seconds to a minute and then place them on with tweezers, starting by placing the outer corner first, then the middle, then the inner corner. Once the glue has completely dried down, this is where I blend my natural lashes with the false lashes using mascara. To make the lashes look extremely seamless, I'm now tight lining my upper waterline with black eyeliner. Moving on to the base, I'm using the Huda Beauty Easy Blur foundation in the shade Apple Pie and applying this first with a flat foundation brush and then buffing it in with a damp beauty sponge. Next, I'm using the LYS cream bronzer and I like to place this basically all around the perimeter of my face. So the cheekbones, forehead, jawline, chin, nose, and then contour the lips a little bit too. Then I'm going back in with my sponge and just making sure that everything's blended out nicely and that there's no harsh lines. Now I'm going in with cream blush, and here I'm using the Patrick Ta cream blush in She's a Doll. Then I'm going in with the Huda Beauty concealer in the shade Vanilla Swirl, and I'm applying this to the under eyes, the forehead, bridge of the nose, top of the lip, and then front of the chin. I use a sponge to blend out the rest of my face, but when it comes to the under eyes, you want to be super precise. Where I have my wing, I'm using a flat eyeshadow brush and just cleaning it up to make it extra sharp. Then I just blend out my under eyes as normal with my beauty sponge. Now I'm setting my face with the Huda Beauty Pound Cake powder, and I like to start again at the perimeter of my face and then work my way towards the under eyes. To get that flawless under eye, I'm first blending out any concealer that may have creased with a concealer brush, and then immediately going in with a powder puff and loose powder. Now I'm just dusting off all of that loose powder with a big fluffy powder brush with no product on it. Now it's time to set all of our cream and liquid layers with powder. So now I'm going in with the Milani Baked Bronzer and just adding this all the places where I've already placed the cream. For powder blush, I'm using the powder side of the Patrick Ta blush duo in She's a Doll. And then I'm topping that with the Kylie powder blush in the shade Winter Kissed, just to really blend that blush with my under eye to make it super seamless. Now to add that glow back into the skin, I'm using the Patrick Ta highlighter in the shade Baby and adding this to the high points of my face, so the top of my cheekbones, and then I bring it up to the tail end of the brow. Now I'm melting all of those powder and liquid layers together with the Milani setting spray. Now going back in with that original Too Faced palette and the colors that I used in the crease, I'm taking a eyeshadow smudge brush and smudging these underneath the lower lash line. To add that pop of color in my inner corners, I'm going in with the Physicians Formula highlighter in the shade Pearl. Then finishing off my eyes with some lower lash line mascara. Moving on to brows, my favorite pencil of all time to use is the NYX Micro Brow Pencil in the shade Espresso. I like a more defined brow since I do have my eyebrows microbladed, so I'm just setting them in place with the e.l.f. Clear Brow Gel. For lips, I'm going in with the Maybelline Lifter Liner in the shade On It. Then I'm using the Rare Beauty Blush in the shade Bliss and adding this to the center of my lips. Then I'm blending the two together using the NYX Butter Gloss in the shade Fortune Cookie. Finishing off the makeup with another big spray of the Milani setting spray. And here is a close-up of what the makeup looks like. This is how the makeup looks in my studio lighting. And this is how the makeup looks in natural sun lighting. This is how it photographed with an iPhone in natural sun lighting, on my Canon G7X with flash, and on my iPhone in natural window lighting.